Okay.
Shouldn't we call that, still have that?
Yeah.
Even though we set up for
Yeah.
ourselves.
Yeah.
That was our second meeting
Yeah.
for the,
Yeah. So
we're putting on the ballot, right?
yeah.
Okay.
Hmm.
7:01. Jim, make sure your mic's back on. Make sure your mic's back on.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Whitewater Township Board of Trustee meetings for July 15th, 2024. If I can ask everyone, please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Fiscal Officer Jim Breck, we do a roll call, please.
Mr. Pope? Here. Mr. Shively?
Here.
And Mr. King?
Here. On our agenda, I need acceptance of the minutes for our special meeting that took place on June 17th at 6 o'clock, which was for the approval of the levy.
I'll make the motion to accept it.
I'll second it.
Voice vote, please.
Mr. Pope?
Yay.
Mr. Shively?
Yay.
And Mr. King?
Yay. Also, I need acceptance of the meeting minutes of our regular meeting on June 17th, Board of Trustees meeting.
I'll make a motion to accept.
I'll second.
Voice vote, please.
Mr. Pope?
Yay.
Mr. Shively?
Yay.
Mr. King?
Yay. We get acceptance of our invoices if everybody had a chance to review those.
I'll make a motion to accept.
And I'll second it.
Voice vote, please.
Mr. Pope?
Yay.
Mr. Shively?
Yay.
And Mr. King?
Yay. And our sheriff's report, he is not here, and that's okay. It's busy, it's summertime, it's July, right? And so, if the sheriff comes in, Sergeant May comes in, we'll let him jump in on his report.
He's actually on vacation out
Oh,
of the country.
okay, all right,
Don't think he's coming.
perfect. Stay there, Sergeant. Going into public presentations, we have Greg Nolan. If you want to come up and to the microphone for me.
Evening, gentlemen.
Good evening, how are you?
I'll let you know when we're done. If you just want to pass, this is Greg Nolan's great map. And there's a picture for everybody too. I think everyone here knows of Crimers. It's been there forever. Let me explain to you what's going on and the dilemma that they face. If you stand and look at Crimers, on the left was American Scaffolding's warehouse. Okay, and American Scaffolding was owned by Crimers, the building. They have now downsized, and Crimers now got half a building back. Their goal was, and it was to me a simple goal, when it's raining outside in the summertime, they wanted to have a bar, event center, in half of the scaffolding building. That to have wedding receptions, your family party, anything like that. We thought it was going to be an easy thing to do. But it turns out the Division of Liquor Control says you can't just open that up because that building, the scaffolding building, is not attached to the main Crimers building. So we had to apply for a second liquor license for that particular space, and that's what we did. And that's what's pending now. They're in the catch-22 that they don't want to invest $80,000 to $100,000 remodeling this space till they know if they can get a liquor license for the space. And everything was going smooth, and we thought we were at the point where I could say to them, start doing construction. And then we found out from the Division of Liquor Control that the township had objected to the liquor license going in there. And that's what's hanging out there now. And so you know my background, this is what I'm a liquor lawyer. That's the main, I drink and I help people. But I'm a liquor lawyer, and what I'm telling you is, by you filing that objection, we will not be able to do anything in terms of spending money till that hearing is held, which is going to be probably in October or November at the earliest. And I didn't know why you objected to it and requested a hearing, and I'm begging you to reconsider and allowing them to go forward. It's not going to be any more inconvenient traffic-wise, space-wise. The parking lot is huge enough to hold it. Their goal is, hey, American Scaffolding was paying me this a large amount of rent. Now they've cut it in half. I'm short on rent. Let's make it an event space, and that's where we are. Any questions about what I'm begging you for?
I have one question. Where did those the new liquor permits, where did they come from?
A group of gentlemen had held hostage. There's only one liquor license that was left.
Okay.
And it was held hostage. I shouldn't say held hostage. They applied for it but never put it in. It's that group that owns the baseball diamonds. And I think they own the indoor golf place. Okay? So in order for our license to go through, they had to surrender theirs and say, no, we don't want it anymore. So they said, we're taking ourselves out of line, and then we became first in line, and that's where we are.
So the new license came from within Whitewater Township already?
Yes.
Okay, that's,
I didn't bring it in from the outside because I would have had to ask you first to do it. But we did the research and found out there was a liquor license available, and the gentleman who had it for three years and never installed it.
You talking about Farwick Fields?
No.
TCYO?
No, it's the baseball guys, the batting cages in there, and also
Miami Lakes?
Huh?
Miami Lakes?
or dipstickies?
Yes. Yes.
Dipstickies.
And then they did the golf simulator, right, by the US.
Okay, so it was dipstickies.
He has a
Liquor
liquor license.
Yes, he has his liquor, but he was tying up another one. And that's it's not bringing one in from the we're not Trexing one in, we're just keeping the one that's there.
Okay.
So, first off, I love Kramer's down there. I mean, it's friends of my dad, friends of our family. I grew up, our families are friends. Has nothing to do with that. And by all means, we want to see anything.
Okay?
The thing that we're staring down, we have some questions because we're not liquor lawyers.
That's why
And
I
our-
gave you my card, you can call
But-
me anytime you want.
But how we have to do it because we're elected.
Right.
We have to look out what's best for the township, right? So we had questions, not just with theirs, that we got some other ones getting applied at the exact same time, they just happened to all hit.
Okay.
We have questions. The only way we can get questions from them is to have the hearing. We never objected. We said, we have questions, can we find out these questions? And they said the only way, find out the questions, have the hearing and ask us the questions. My main question for them is, which you've helped a little bit here, but my main question as far as your guys' goes, just to give you an idea on some of the questions. We have other ones that we have issues with, maybe. It's not an issue about if they can or can't have it or not. My main question for them is, why can't we facilitate them using their existing liquor license? And the only reason I want to do that is, and you're saying, I understand, and they're probably going to say exactly what you said, but we're looking at it as right now because of the sewer and stuff coming down, there's a lot of people interested. There's a lot of other people that have come to us already with some ideas that are great ideas for our area. I just don't want to tie up all the liquor license. Why should we? They already have one, and they're going to probably tell us the same thing. But I guess my point being is, it's not that we don't want them to have it. It's not that we don't want them to put the facility in, at least for my eyes. I don't know where these guys are at, but I'm looking at the development in the area. And I wish they could just use the one they have and make it easier for you guys and leave something open for somebody else in the area.
Here's the answer to your question, because that's what we wanted.
Yeah.
We just simply said, can we expand it and take it over to the next building? It's actually going to cost them almost $2,600 a year for the second license. And they said to us, since the buildings are not attached, they are separate locations, and because there's a parking lot in between, I literally begged them to say, can you make an exception here? And they said no.
That's my questions. And I want to ask them questions about moving forward as we give up, because as we give up liquor license, or people get them, we don't really get to decide. All we can do is go in and say, hey, this is our questions, this is our concerns. They make the decision, so in the end, it really has nothing to do with us. But I'm sure these guys have no problem with them. I'm just trying to look at for development and down the road, what's best for the township. And we're not trying to hold everybody up. We thought by turning it in, we really thought as soon as we got it, we turned it back over. We thought within a few weeks or a month, they would have this hearing set up. I don't know. We call all the time with Peggy, and I'm like, did they get back yet? She's like, not yet, not
So
yet.
you know how the hearing works?
No,
Nobody's coming here.
yeah.
You're going to be sitting and watching.
Yeah, like a virtual one, probably.
It's going to be a virtual meeting with a hearing officer in Columbus.
Yeah,
They're not going to be fair, they're not going to answer your questions. You're the one that says, we have questions. And you ask me the questions, they won't answer those questions.
yeah.
So, I mean, it's a hearing officer who doesn't work for the Division of Liquor Control. The hearing officer is an independent person who's supposed to make a judgment. The judgment they will make is that your objection is overruled, we get the permit, your objection is sustained, and we don't get the permit. That's the only two choices they have.
At least I'll get some answers to my questions,
Right.
though. One way or the other, they're going to have to give me some kind of answer, I would think.
So from what I'm hearing from you, you're not going to withdraw the request for a hearing, and you're going to wait till they have a hearing.
I have questions, and it's not just,
Okay.
the hearings we set up weren't just for yours, there's some other ones that have applied also. So the hearing we have set up is for everybody, questions about all of them, right? So it's not just for one, it's for all of them, so the questions that I've got.
One hearing
Yeah.
for us.
Yeah.
One hearing for the next person, one hearing for the next person.
Yeah, I don't know.
know.
She turned it in, and we haven't heard back from them yet, so that's what we told them. I mean, I can't go off of, I understand, and I respect, and I'm sure you know what you're talking about, but I'm elected for Whitewater Township. I know, I have concerns about what's best for Whitewater, what's best for Whitewater is for them to add that over there, right? I want them to do that, but I would love to do that in a different way or find out on questions, and we definitely have questions on the other one too. So until we hear back from them, if they split it up and then I don't know, they acted like after we did it, they were going to do it all in one, right? If we had questions, they would answer all of our questions in one. That's what they told us.
So my suggestion down the road for you is to look at these things happen, is to consider setting up an entertainment district. That way you can get more licenses.
That's what I
So
said.
you know how liquor licenses work? Liquor licenses are allocated one for every 2,000 people. So if you have a big area and there's nobody living there, you get not many liquor licenses.
Yeah.
That's the problem. And,
We're trying to go the other way. We're trying to get build up more, so we can.
So what I'm saying to you is you ought to consider an entertainment district sometime down the road. So you know what an entertainment district is. You have to tell the Division of Liquor Control, here's the meats and here's what we're, in this area, and it has to be, start here, go around and come back. We want to make that an entertainment district. Now, the difference between an entertainment district liquor license is it can't leave the district. In other words, I can't, if you came to me and said, I got a bar in the entertainment district and I want to move it to Kenwood, I can't do it. It has to stay in the entertainment district, okay? So
It's funny that we've kind of got a deal going right now that we're kind of been,
Well, so what I'm saying is you're in a dilemma as a township because you don't have enough people to generate more liquor licenses.
yeah, exactly.
And, you know,
Here's the only question I have for you, Mr. Nolan. How long did it take you to get that for Steve Stigler to release that liquor license?
I'm not going to answer that question.
Okay. Because I know Steve very well, so I got you. But it took some time because he didn't have to release it, correct?
Well, if he said, Greg, go to hell, I'm going to hang on to it, then the only pressure I could do is go to the Division of Liquor Control and
Sure.
say, force them to open.
Correct. So if we give it to you, you could do the same thing with it,
What?
liquor license.
It has to open. It physically has to open.
I got you.
All right.
Yeah.
I can't.
What kind of time frame?
Got to open with approval with passing all inspections, correct?
It has to physically open with a building permits.
All
Health-
inspections.
all
Our fire
inspect-
department would have to inspect. Is
Right,
that correct?
exactly.
Okay.
So what I'm saying to you is I can't take that
So-
liquor license and just turn it.
So, let's say we turn that liquor license, and, which I'm not because I'm with trustee Shibley, we're going to have the hearing, just so you know. Let's say we just went ahead and said, okay, we're going to give you that liquor license, Mr. Nolan,
Yes,
and you don't pass inspection,
right,
and it continues to not pass.
right.
Who keeps the liquor license?
The Division of Liquor Control.
Okay, but it's in your name, just like it was with Steve Stigler, correct?
In my 20 years, I honestly don't know the answer to your question.
Okay.
How long can I tie a liquor license up? I don't know the answer. They've tied that one
Steve had it for 3.5
3 years. Yeah, exactly.
There's my point.
But nobody was pressing him. In other words, if it's a matter of getting in line, and there was nobody behind him in line, once we filed, we were behind him, and
So, just to answer your question,
yeah,
I got you. I already know. We need to make sure all of our ducks in a row in Whitewater Township.
okay?
That means if you're going to put something in there, and you need to make sure it's going to pass inspections,
Correct.
Right,
correct?
We are working with architects.
You got to make sure fire, water, everything's in line with the fire department.
Well-
And that's the questions I have.
well, we're gonna submit architectural plan.
Okay.
I mean,
Have you?
We've already started the process with Hamilton County.
Okay. So that would help if I could see them prior.
I can give you I can email you a set or.
It's got to be approved
Print it off and everything.
by an architect.
right,
Okay.
that's,
Just so you kind of know where we're at a little bit. We're not against, I am not against crimers. I'm not against, I love the place. I love going down there. But I also want to be careful for the development that Whitewater Town, because I look at the economic development for Whitewater Township with
Yeah.
fiscal officer Jim Brett, because I cannot discuss it with the other two trustees as elected officials. And you are right about a business district or whatever.
Yeah.
We're already in that discussion, so it's hard for us to piggyback off what trustee Shibley's saying, is for us just to give something up when we're getting old. I
Right.
grew up in this township. I didn't move into this township and run for trustee. I grew up in this township,
Right.
which all three of us have. So I want to be careful what we do. Nothing against what you're doing. At least you're here. I appreciate you coming here is what I do. Because this helps me a whole lot that you're here and you're telling me and we're listening and the questions we have, but I don't know where we're at this point.
Okay.
Because there is a lot of development happening down State Route 128, and Crimers knows that. Mark came in here all the time asking about how we do it years ago with the whole holding tanks and everything. I've been sitting here for a long time, over 20 years, between the sewer district, so I know everything that Mark has done is probably longer than that, is, Jim. But anyway, I get what you're saying. I think you enlightened us, Mr. Nolan, and I appreciate that, and I appreciate everything you do. And we'll even have a beer together. I have no issue with that at Crimers.
So it seems to me we're at the point where all of us want to have a hearing.
Yes, we will have a hearing.
And we're at the point, too, that you're not going to give up and say, no, we don't want to have a hearing.
That's not going to happen.
I understand. I'm just so
But I will tell you, I think maybe what could help is some drawings, something that's concrete of what's going to go in and how it's going to meet all codes for us before we surrender a liquor license.
We've even had a flood survey.
Okay.
As per
Perfect.
County, we're dealing with engineer and architect.
Come up there.
Sorry. So we
Can
are
you
in
tell
the
us who you are
My
first?
name is Deanna McDonald, and I run the restaurant for Mark. So we have submitted some plans originally with Hamilton County. We have done the flood survey. We have new plans that are redone with an architect. Everything is on there. We're permitting HVAC sprinkler system on A2, A3 occupancy due to the event center and all of the Beverly Hills Supper Club fires and everything else that's happened. So the whole thing will be sprinkled. The electric is being permitted, the plumbing's being permitted, everything is all going through them,
Okay.
so. And
Yeah,
I can send over the plans that I have from the architect if you'd like them.
Yeah, I think that would help. I see everybody's questions, and the one thing is, because you are here, I do like the whole idea, and you saw me shaking my head about the whole district arena. I like all that. And I believe you guys could be the front runner on some of that stuff. But at the same time, we have to be careful about how we start surrendering things, because when you got involved in this, others got involved in it as well, about liquor license.
Okay.
And that became an issue in the township. So it was timing for you. So what I would do, since you were here, is get all those things laid out. Let us know so we can present it to our fire chief, his staff, and we take that whole process. You follow what I'm saying, Mr. Nolan?
I understand.
And again, I appreciate you guys being here. That says a lot to me.
And there's no doubt that you guys are going to do it right.
Yes.
I mean, there's no doubt. And they're not going to let you do it any other way. Trust me.
Yeah.
I'm in the same boat you are right now. So
But, yeah.
on doing permit stuff.
When we had applied, we were told that the full liquor license was available through the state of Ohio. And when we got it back and our liquor agent came out to inspect, which we weren't ready for that, we were just applying for everything.
Yeah, yeah.
Before
Sure.
we wanted to make sure we had some before we put a bunch of money into this place.
Yeah.
And everything was available but the D2. So we have the spirit liquor, we have the wine, we have every other part, except we can't sell beer and we're a beer house.
Right.
So that's where we were like, okay.
Right.
So when we found out there was an extra one.
Yep.
was
What
where we're
I
at.
would do, let's work together on this.
I would love to.
You know, I mean, we work with us, like Trustee Shively said, we're elected officials. I could sit up here and say, yeah, go do it, but I work for the township. I work for the
Absolutely.
people, not because of what Trustee King wants. It's,
And I never imagined that it was going to take so long to get a hearing.
yep,
I for real thought it was going to be 3-4 weeks and we have the hearing, we could ask our questions.
Right.
And I thought it would move right along.
Yeah, and
Well,
at first I was like, okay, they just had some questions,
Yeah,
and it
that's-
just kept going and going. I was like, I don't know. what
Yeah.
else
yeah, I don't want it to get so big and out of control that we don't have things in order and we're saying, okay, Mark, here's your liquor license, and everything's not in order, and everything gets delayed. Next thing you know, we're 2 or 3 years down the road like Dip Stiggy's was, and And then
We are
we have a
ready-
development
We are ready
economic.
to roll as soon as we know we
Okay.
have something in hand that will allow us to make money to pay for what we got
I
put
got
out.
you.
I get it.
so.
I
got
get
you.
it.
And we did want to use our existing, but they said we needed a clear and unobstructed pedestrian path from one building to the other.
Right.
And.
It's no way to get across.
Unless you're going to bridge it or dig underneath it. I
Yeah.
mean, there's really no other option for us, so we had to go this route.
Did you have something?
No, I was just thinking you have a speakeasy entrance and put a culvert across it. I don't know, you know.
I would just like it to be known on my behalf, my questions have been answered, and I'm ready to move on with it. I'm just one, but
Thank you.
that's how I feel.
Thanks, guys.
One more thing, you might, ignoring us, you can go on the Division of Liquor Control website and find out what's available and who has what. It will tell you you can just punch in the Whitewater Township and it will tell you,
Yeah, I looked through, yeah.
okay?
I greatly appreciate it.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you
Yeah.
so
Do
much,
you have
Mr.
any
Holmes.
Thank you.
questions on this stuff?
Yeah, we got
More than
your
happy.
card, absolutely.
I'm right up and ship it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Nobody turned in anything else on
Nope.
public presentations?
No.
Township reports, Chief, on the fire department? We can? Yep. Maintenance department, which,
Josh is on vacation, so
Okay.
he did not get to submit a report before he left.
oh, okay, I don't have to read anything.
No, and Peggy was on vacation last week, so she did not get a chance to compile the center numbers today. So, Mr. Shively, you're off the hook as well.
Take on.
With the maintenance department, I had a request that was sent to me from the IOK four-wheelers. If the township is willing and Josh has the time to do it, if we would be willing to, the township, to cut that grass for them before Gravarama. They got a big race event in July. They do not need to cut us the parking area. If that could be approved by the township, as he did, I think, early in the race season.
He's done this in the past for the IOK group.
Yes. I do not, they would have him cut it probably second week of August because the race event opens, the race event is 23rd, 24th, 25th, but it opens the Sunday prior to that, Peggy. I don't know what that date is. The 18th, so he would have to go down and cut that either the first week and a half of August.
I'll make a motion, we approve Josh to do that again this year as he has in the past.
I'll second it.
Okay, voice vote, please.
Mr. Pope?
Yay.
Mr. Shively?
Yay.
And Mr. King?
Yay. Okay, thank you. I'll pass that on. With that, real quick, since we're on it before the chief comes up, I was at the IOK meeting for the race event, that they're going to do their passes a little bit different this year. So if anybody in Whitewater Township wants to go to the race event, just get me your names, how many tickets you want, and they'll put you on a list, and you can go into the event, is how they're going to do that. Okay? So they are going to give passes to Whitewater Township trustees and whoever works, whatever passes you guys may need. I think somebody's going to try to come next meeting in August, but if not, you can give me that list and I'll turn that in. So Chief, whatever your department has, if your department, their family want to go, just give me names and probably I do not know how they're working it. Everything's getting more expensive and they're losing money, but they still want to give out passes without handing out those cards because they never know where they end up. So they're going to try to go that approach as well. And I do know, Chief, they asked if your department was going to do anything as far as jumping in the front of the parade with fire truck, squad, anything like that. Okay. Just so they know, that's a big event for them, for the township. So they bring in a lot of revenue there, so. Okay.
I think Josh drove the township truck.
Yeah, so whatever you guys decide, Peggy, on that, I know Josh does a lot down there for that race event. And that's just not for IOK, we would do anything on that pumpkin festival or anything else like that too, so.
Yeah, we work Weber's
Yep,
Festival.
absolutely.
Yes. And the Pet Palooza, don't forget the Pet Palooza.
Pet Palooza, you're right, that was busy, yes. Chief, do you want to jump in? You're it.
That didn't buy you much time.
It didn't. I thought there was going to be like a regular report or something.
You got your staff here, let them come up and,
No, we don't want that. No. I've been listening to some of the side conversations and, Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
Our run total for the month of June 2024, we had 84 EMS details with 84 patients. 50 of those were transported and 49 fire details for a monthly total of 125 details. We've had 432 EMS details for the year, 242 fire details for 498 details for the year so far. I'll skip through I won't skip through the next section. We do have an update on our engine 5 out of Hooven. The 2009 Sutphen is up at the repair shop with the head issue, and it also has a pump issue. They did retest the pump, and it's going to have some pump work, so it's been up there for about 3 weeks, so we're still waiting on that to return. We are running out of the spare, the 1997 spare out of E-Town. So we are awaiting that 2009 Sutphen to return, but it is getting worked on. We were waiting on head bolts, and they were on back order, and they were still looking at another 6 months. And I said, let's just do aftermarket, and we can't wait on that any longer. So it was not that it was a ticking time bomb, but it was a problem that could have been much worse. So it is at the shop being worked on. We also found out today that Squad 4, our 2017, has a head issue and an oil pan gasket issue as well, so that'll be going to the shop next week. So we'll be down in ambulance next week while that's getting worked on. We still have 2 in service, but our spare is being moved up. So just a little update on our vehicle maintenance there for you. Staffing for the month of June, no station closures. 100% of our shifts were covered by township medics, still in conjunction with the West Yad medics as needed. You can kind of see our counts. We're still hovering right around an average of 2.5 paramedics per shift is where we're hovering around. Our full-time staff, Michael Orlando, who was approved as the next full-time firefighter paramedic, has started working his scheduled shifts last week, so we do have him on board. So we are back to our 8 full-time members on duty on the schedule. As far as our part-time staffing, once again, we are seeing a lag in part-time applications. We get calls and inquiries, emails. We send them the information, and it's like we never hear from them again. Do follow-ups, and some of them get back and say they have found something else, or some don't reply. Not exactly sure what the specific reason is. I don't know. But while our system still relies on those part-time members, the part-time member pool is still shrinking in this area, and it's a struggle to retain those part-time members once we do hire them. So really the best answer is the addition of more full-time staff. So I just wanted to kind of present that and just kind of remind everybody that is the direction that we do need to move in. And I understand later in the meeting, kind of be discussing the levy and getting that moving, and that will be a huge help to us, provided that it passes, to increase our full-time staffing. So it's kind of the direction that we have to keep moving towards. Part-time union, we are preparing to begin negotiations with the part-time union members. Their current contract runs through August 31st of this year. I do have a meeting set up for Friday to start talking with the part-time union president on that. The station upgrades and repairs, the new awnings and doors and frames at Miami Town, and actually the awnings at all 3 stations have been installed, and everything looks really great. Getting rid of those old cloth awnings that were all kind of molded and mildewed, and the new metal awnings are on and installed. They look great. We went with red at Miami Town to kind of match the door lintels over the bay doors, and it really pops and it really jumps out. It looks really good. So if you haven't had a chance to drive by and take a peek at them, everything's installed and looking good. And then the last thing I have on here, I do have some additional stuff that was added later, but I sent you all a proposal for upgrading our NOx equipment. Excuse me, the key secures in the engines, and also the addition of the NARC vaults. Excuse me, for controlled substance storage in the ambulances. Was there any discussion? Do you have any questions about that proposal?
I don't.
What kind of time frame you looking on this?
As I said in the proposal, the prices came out a lot more than what I anticipated. I knew it was going to be expensive, but I didn't think it was going to be that expensive. So I'd like to break the proposal down into 2 parts. The first part being the NARC vaults to store the controlled substances in the ambulances. Would like to move forward with that as soon as possible. Our storage is compliant with the Board of Pharmacy, however, this system is more secure. And then as far as upgrading the key secures and the additional key defenders in the other vehicles, we can actually push that off till the first of the year.
And what's the breakdown between the 2 price?
So the NARC vaults would be a total of $7,562.96, and that's for 3 med vaults, and then the software to control the access and users and audit tracking and all that. And that's just for the NARC vaults.
The total was like 14 some, wasn't it?
Yeah, the actual total was like close to $15,000 for everything.
So it was about half and half then?
Yeah,
Roughly.
and we are adding a lot of, we're adding several more key locks. Our ambulances do not have the key locks, just our engines, our staff cars do not have them. And what we're seeing is, coming back from runs, if it's a structure fire, an ambulance may be in the area before the engine gets there, and if it does have a Knox box, the ambulance does not have the key to access the doors. So by adding the key defenders to the ambulances gives us more access to these businesses. Also, something that we're looking at in the future is a residential Knox box program. We do have some residences where the residents may not be able to get to the door because of medical issues. They have a life alert alarm. We get an alarm and we show up and we can't get into the home. Well, the residential Knox box program would allow us to put a residential Knox box on that home, and the ambulances would have keys.
Now, for the businesses and the houses, I mean, is that, you don't think you could get them to pay for that? That's not something they could buy themselves?
So the businesses, they all pay for their own Knox box.
Okay.
To mount onto their business. When it comes to the residential program, they're portable boxes. Basically, they hang over the door and on your door, and when you close the door, they're secure. So that would be something that we would possibly buy and loan out to residents, because usually it's a short-term, it's usually a short-term time that they need these boxes. If it's something more long-term, it would be something that we would ask the residents to buy, or I really haven't dove into that program yet because it's just kind of something that's on the back burner that we're looking at moving into the future. And again, it's all based on funding. Do we have the funding to do this and stuff like that? So it's.
So the second half of it is all of that, like this? the
Correct.
residential
The
box?
second half is the key defenders, which are the single keys that would go in the ambulances and the staff cars. And the three key secures that would go in the engines to replace the current key secures that we have. And with the key secures also, there are two keys, they hold two keys. So we could place, since we make a lot of runs out of Hooven into Miami Township, if Miami Township agreed, we could put a Miami Township key into that key secure. Miami Town makes a lot of runs into Harrison. We also make a lot into Green Township. We could decide, see where we go more, and we could put a key, so we would have two keys, a Whitewater key and a Green Township Harrison key in that box as well. So it kind of helps our mutual aid companies out as well.
I'm fine with, I would make a motion to go ahead with the ones in the ambulance.
Talking about the first
The
phase.
The first phase,
At
first phase.
7,500 is
Yeah.
what,
right.
or whatever that dollar
76.
amount is.
Yeah. And then we can kind of roll ourselves into looking into the other, the,
So where's that liability line? If you have a residential box,
Can you repeat that?
if someone was to say, well, somebody in the fire department, I'm not accusing anybody, somebody from the fire department used that thing and got in my house.
So Peggy's question is, where does the liability lie going with the residential Knox box program? If someone's house is broken into and they accuse a fire department member of getting into the box and accessing the home, what the key secures do and the key defenders do is they log every time the vehicle is turned on, every time somebody puts in their code. Every member on the department has their own code, individual code, and it creates an audit trail. So then I can go into the computer software and see who accessed that key defender or that key secure, even with the med vaults, who accessed any of these pieces of equipment, and it gives us an audit trail so we know who got into to access the key at a specific time. And really, that's what the med vaults are for. Again, with the Board of Pharmacy, our system is good, it is compliant, but this makes it better.
I like the part that it tracks it.
Yes, it definitely tracks
Yeah.
it with an audit log.
Well, I know in the case of, because I was talking to someone from Colerain Township Fire Department, in the case of Silo's Storage a couple years ago, when they had their big building burnt, Whitewater Township was the first on the scene. In Colerain Township at the fire, at that time, he did not have a Knox box. He does now. So you would carry like Colerain Township keys also, or?
We could, and what we would need to do is we would need to see who do we make more mutual aid runs with? Is it Colerain, is it Green Township, is it Harrison? And whoever we make more runs with, and then we would approach them and say, hey, we're installing new key secures, we're installing the two-key system. We see how many runs we're making into your area. Would you like us to add a key to our system, add your key to our system?
There's room for more than a couple keys in the,
No, they only do two keys.
it'll only hold two keys?
It does, yes.
Okay.
So it's the Knox box on the business that holds all the keys.
Right, all the keys for all the individual buildings.
Correct, and then we have the key to open the Knox box.
Right, but you can only hold two,
Correct. Yeah,
so all the Knox boxes in Whitewater Township would be keyed alike.
they are all keyed the same, correct. And then we have the master key in the key secure in the vehicle.
Okay, but then you could only add a Green Township or a Harrison or a, okay,
Yeah.
that seems a little
Yeah.
archaic to me, but I understand it.
Yeah, it's part of their security system. And again, that's why Knox is the only quote that we have, is because we've been using the Knox system for 20 years here in Whitewater Township. all the new buildings, when the plan reviews come in, they're required to have a Knox box, and we use the Knox system. One key, one system. It's a proven system. In all of my years, I've never heard of any security issues
Is
with
that what
Knox.
most of the townships around us are using as well?
Yeah, Knox is pretty much the only
Is
one.
anybody else using anything different besides Knox?
Not that I'm aware of,
Okay.
not to my knowledge, no.
Okay, so we have a motion on from trustee.
Yeah, I'll second the motion for the $7,562.96.
Should we make it a little higher? Just
Not to exceed 8,000 or 7,600 or whatever.
I mean, 76 is going to cover it, you think, for sure?
That was the price that I got right from Knox, right off of their quote. That's what they
Just
sent
make it
back.
77. I'll make a motion to approve 7,700.
And I'll second that.
Okay, voice vote, please.
Mr. Pope,
Yay.
Mr. Shively,
Yay.
Mr. King.
Yay.
Okay, we're almost finished, I promise. So some things that I added on here, the new BLS truck was purchased. We were able to purchase a 2024 Ford F-150 off the lot from Fuller Ford. It was just a little north of $48,000, which was lower than the price from the other dealer that we had. And plus it had a few more options, nothing major or anything like that, but so we were able to secure that. We are in the process of ordering all the additional equipment, the lighting and storage cabinets and equipment and stuff like that. We're looking at 4 to 6 weeks for that to come in. Then once it's in, Mobilecom will do the majority, and then Swiss Caps will put the cap on the back. That's where we're at with that. So the last thing that I have is something that we've probably been a little lax at over the years, and working on improving this as we move forward, is some employee recognition for outstanding achievement, job well done, going above and beyond. If Lieutenant Schmidt could come up here, he's going to assist me with this. No? Okay, all right. So our first one that we have firefighter paramedic Madison Snyder and firefighter EMT Brianna Ritchie. Unfortunately, Brianna got stuck in traffic, and she's not going to be able to make it. But on June 9th, 2024, we were dispatched to an auto accident on I-275. After they went en route, it was later updated to an entrapment. Once they got on the scenes, firefighter Snyder and Ritchie evaluated the situation. It was a double entrapment, the driver and the passenger. They prioritized the passenger as the higher priority and began extricating the passenger from the vehicle. By the time Lieutenant Schmidt had the engine set up, safety lines pulled, safety area established for the scene, firefighter Snyder and Ritchie had removed parts of the vehicle from around the patient, had the patient packaged and ready for removal from the vehicle within 8 minutes. That is a phenomenal time for an extrication. I was looking at the follow-up on the patient, and the patient was critical and was just recently discharged on July 2nd from UC Medical Center. But in reading the report, this patient still has a long road to recovery. So with that, I'd like to recognize firefighter Snyder and firefighter Ritchie for going above and beyond for outstanding achievement. And Lieutenant Schmidt, if you could present them, well, actually, Maddie, with a certificate of appreciation and outstanding achievement. You have to get a speech, too. Congratulations, Maddie, and good job. You're welcome. Our next one is for a longtime employee, Jeremy Hinman. Firefighter Hinman has been the backbone for all of our computer software, our scheduling, our reporting, personnel management, asset monitoring. He also coordinates our map guides, our long lay information electronically, and hard copies for all the vehicles. When it comes to the software, he does all the research, he does all the comparisons. He recommends the software that we should go with, and he's been doing this at least for the last 10 years. He was also one of our software gurus when we used Firehouse software. Again, he not only does the research, but he works with the companies getting everything set up, getting it all installed, bringing all of our users, giving us the training, bringing our users up to date. And he's also the go-to guy if there's an issue with the software. His phone is always on. He answers calls at any hour of the night to help us rectify any computer software issues. And on top of all that, he also processes our monthly MVA billing. So Jeremy has been a huge asset to the operations of the department, not only out in the field, but also behind the scenes. And we'd like to recognize Jeremy for his outstanding achievement and award him with a certificate of appreciation for all of his hard work over the years, for what he's done, not only for the residents, but also for the department members with our computer software and all that good stuff. So Jeremy, if you could come forward, please. We use the term Hinmanized in the fire department, so if something's been Hinmanized, he's the guy we go to. Thank you, Jeremy. Thank you for everything. Appreciate it. So moving forward, I hope this is something that, hopefully this is something that we can do not at every meeting, but, we start recognizing our employees for their hard work and their dedication, and it's something that I want to focus on, and so hopefully we'll be seeing more of this in the future. That's all I got, unless you have any questions.
The only thing I have is, Chief, just a comment about your part-time to full-time. And, I work in public service, as you know, as well, and it is getting very difficult. And I think that is something we need to put on a front burner and keep bringing up. This may be one of the biggest meetings I've been involved in tonight with what we're getting ready to present for resolutions for our township, outside of all the progress we tried to make on the water sewer. But as sitting up here as a trustee, it's a big one tonight. And I do agree with you, and it is getting very difficult because what your folks do, all of you out there, man, it's getting harder and harder to find people to do what we do in the public service world. It is. It's getting very difficult. So I do appreciate you putting that in your report, and I encourage you to keep throwing that in your report until we can get this figured out.
How many more full-times it take to cover, like not having part-time, just all full-time?
Well, if it was all full-time, we would be looking at 15 full-timers.
Okay.
And again, that just keeps us at minimums.
Yeah.
If, my ultimate goal for the department is 7 on duty per day. So if you multiply that out by 3, that gives you 21 full-time. And again, that doesn't necessarily cover off-time, vacations, sick days and stuff like that. So if you're looking at an all full-time department, you're looking at least north of 21 full-time, in which that's not what the township needs right now.
No.
Right. The part-time employees are still essential to our operation. It's just the shift, again, back in the 70s to the 80s, you saw the shift from volunteer to part-time. In the early 2000s to the teens, you saw it more towards full-time. We're going from part-time to full-time now. And every department in this area, in the region, we're all fighting for the same employees. They're coming out of school and they're going to wherever they feel they're going to make the most money. You know, the benefits, the contracts, whoever's, you know, shining that penny, you know, the brightest is where they're going. It is what it is. I hate to say that, but, you know, we have to do what we can do with Whitewater Township to kind of make our flag and make our penny a little bit bigger and brighter. But the
We
start.
need to do what's best for the public.
Correct.
The public
We
needs to
do.
understand is
We
need
have to
make sure
manage.
we're-
We have to find that happy medium.
Right.
But adding, you know, right now, adding 4 more full-time to our staff to get us to 12 would be a huge step in solidifying consistent coverage, you know, day in and day out, and also a reduction in the overtime that we're seeing for the full-time employees.
Keep bringing this up, let's stay on top of this.
Will do.
Okay.
Thank you.
I don't have anything else.
Thanks, I don't have anything.
Thanks, Chief.
Thanks,
Good
sir.
report.
Thank you, guys, for
Thank
real.
you, Chief. Thank you,
You're
guys.
welcome.
Thank all of you, yep. All right, let's jump into the committee reports. Jim, you got anything on the water sewer?
Yes, the sewer district accepted the bid from Welsh Construction to build the lift station for Phase 1 of the 128 project, and accepted the bid from, I'm going to botch the name, Mark Brinkman, for the actual putting in of the piping. So at just over $18 million. So the contracts are being worked on. We hope to be breaking ground on that before the next meeting. So we actually talked about whether we could have a groundbreaking, because we've never done that before. So if we do, I'll let you guys know so you can be there. So I think that's the future of,
I don't mean to sound like a negative Nelly, but I keep feeling like one day it's going to come in like, oh, man, everything went south, everything's going backwards.
Just so everybody, I'm looking out in the audience at Tim McDonald, just get a thumbs up on this. It's been a long road, hasn't it, Tim?
Yeah,
That's news that I never, ever thought we'd hear.
Wow.
amazing.
What else you got up? That's a lot.
I think that's enough for sewer.
Yeah, I do too.
So,
Yeah.
I mean, how many years has the
years?
report been? Nothing new is going on? Still working on it?
Man, I was hoping we were going to have something, and Tim had to come up here and talk about something. All right. Economic development, I'm just going to go off with water and sewer. We're just going to keep moving on, right?
So-
Unless you have anything.
No, I did hear from Nick Keys at JS Held.
Yes, yeah.
He's working on getting some type of proposal together to send out for the demolition of Miami Town Elementary School, the grant
Nick's the one that
application
we-
that,
Yeah.
yeah, the grant application that Peggy had put in, she just found out that we didn't get that. There's another round of grants that's out there that we'd like to have an actual price for. I don't even remember who it's through, but it's a state program. The period started last July, ends July of '25, and I guess they're starting to get, some of the projects that they approved aren't going through, so they're going to have some money, kind of how we got the money for the sewer district, the second round of the infrastructure stuff. So we're going to keep working on that. So that's all I've heard from him, though.
On that economic development, just so everybody knows, when you heard Trustee Shibley talking about this whole Crimer deal, that, you know, Jim and I do the economic development, but that's reason why we need to be careful what we're doing, because there's a lot of development that's going to be following up with this sewer project going in down State Route 128. So I think that's very important. We need to be careful with how we handle things.
And the gentleman, Mr. Nolan, had mentioned the entertainment district, and I had actually saw an article on that in the Columbus Dispatch that I forwarded to Doug over the weekend within Sunday's Dispatch. And there's a small township that's making good use of that, so yeah, there's a couple areas we could look at for that. And and as he said, you know, we get those, I think you can have up to 15 or 17 in a district, but they can't leave. So if we do that, and we can help control what goes into the projects, then we don't get the fly-by-night bars that you don't want. We get the type restaurants and eateries that we'd like to see come to the township and develop in our area. So I think it's a positive thing, even, if you've been to the Little Miami bike trail area over in Loveland, that's a great little area along the Little Miami River over there. And I think they've done a DORA district, outdoor drinking area where you,
it's becoming a very common place too. Lawrenceburg has a wonderful entertainment district, as does Harrison. You go up to Harrison on 4 o'clock on an afternoon and walk through a little district. It's nice. There's, multiple little breweries with really good food, and it definitely stimulates an area.
So, and Miamitown would be the perfect area to, with the history there to.
Yeah, from Crimers all the way up to the north
And
end.
that's kind of what your point is.
Well, that's it.
Yeah.
We want to kind of be careful with.
And we've got some room for, it's the only thing that hurts Harrison down there. If Harrison had more parking, it would be booming down.
It would,
It would,
yeah.
if Harrison had more parking, and it would be,
Yeah.
it would be booming. That's the only thing that hurts them down there, that is the parking. And with how things lay down there, I think we could get plenty of parking, which would be,
Right.
we got a little bit more room down there. I don't know, hopefully it keeps going forward.
Okay. Anything else, Jim, you have on economic development?
No,
Okay. We Thrive, trustee?
We
Coe?
Thrive is in recess, summer recess still, so no report. While I've got the microphone, I might as well go into West Jed. West Jed met last Thursday. We, as here, we approved our 2025 budget. West Jed continues to operate from within its budget and is still able to save a little money in the meantime also due to its good staffing practices and everything. And then we also discussed a succession plan for employees, making sure everybody's cross-trained. If the chief or clerk or anybody has problems, we can have people to fill in for them. So that was our discussions for the meeting. The next meeting is October 10th. Normally it's the first Thursday, but there was some scheduling conflicts. October 10th is the next meeting for that fall quarter. And that's all I have to report for West Jed.
Solid waste?
So the only thing I got is, at the last meeting, anybody that was here was watching, it was presented, a lawsuit from the EPA, against, Monsanto, and, so I looked into it. It was something that I didn't know, which, not that we should, that's EPA and Monsanto, but it was filed, in March of 2018. I looked over it. It's been back and forth to court, different filings, over 100 times. And it's still, they had mentioned that there was a payout. I never got to where there was a real payout. It must have went back and forth all the way up. As far as I can tell, it's still kind of going, maybe there was, and it's not public knowledge. I didn't go as far as to make phone calls to try, that's really neither here nor there. I think what it has done is just backed up what we've been saying all the time, that everybody, once again, with Rumpke, at points people acted like we didn't care or we weren't doing anything. And in the end, it's they need to go to the EPA. They need to go that's where the fight is. We don't really get to control what goes on that hill, as sad as it is. I wish we did. We don't have that control, and this just kind of shows. The EPA does have the power to stop them, to file lawsuits against them or sue them. She's right. It'd be nice if, if they did get a big payout or are getting a big payout, it would be great to get some of that money back for, the damage they did to our property. But it's going to go back to the EPA, which by rights, the EPA needs to be funded too, and to keep trying to fight stuff that goes back. But there really was nothing more than that. It was between EPA and Monsanto, nothing to do with us, and I hope people realize, and if they want to keep fighting it, fight. We are trying to fight the fight, but we have to fight it just like everybody else. We don't have any extra pool, so it's the EPA, when they want to get together and go, they should go there and put their fight there, scream as loud as you can. But other than that, there's no news is good news, so as far as that goes, I don't know when they'll try to use that, if they will anytime soon. I don't, from what I've heard or seen, I guess they could change their mind at any time, but what they've gotten opened up in Coleraine now is, it's like nothing you've ever seen. I had to take some stuff up there from a rental that I had to dump up there, and you got to drive, it feels like you're driving from here to Coleraine to get back in there to dump, and the hole that's in the ground up there is just, I don't know, maybe it'll fill up faster than I think, but it's pretty, hopefully they can just keep dumping it up there for now until they find a better way to do something with it other than putting it in the ground would be the best way, but I don't see that coming either. But that's it, that's all I have.
We're going to jump into old business. Trustee Pope, you didn't have anything for? Okay. Old business, we'll jump in, our license tax procedure. We were going to have a public hearing on that, but with the 4th of July, everything got kind of twisted around, which I think was a really good call by Fiscal Officer Brett to go ahead. But we need to reschedule that public hearing meeting for the license plate tax. However we want to do that. And what's that take, Jim? You got to put it in the paper for X amount of days, or?
Have to put it in 10 days before the first hearing, and then the second one has to be within a certain number of days. So I'm trying to find it in my calendar without getting my glasses out. What day was it we originally had that planned for?
July 10th?
Yeah, we were going to do it July 10th, and then we had to have the next meeting within 7 days. So if we could do the same thing for next month's meeting, which is the 19th. If
We did like the 14th and then again on the 19th. 14th is a Wednesday, so we got to do our second hearing within 7 days, correct?
right,
So anywhere between, I would say.
13,
just
14, 15.
13, 14, 15. I think we ought
The
to do that.
14th is fine with me.
Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday would be what we're looking at, Trustee Shibley. August,
I'd stick with the Tuesday, Wednesday. Sometimes my Thursdays are no good.
yeah, me too. Thursdays will be no good for me. I work a later shift on Thursdays.
14th and 19th work?
14th and 19th, can we do a Wednesday
And then right before the meeting
on the 19th?
on the 19th,
That would be
yes.
our second. Can everybody do the 14th?
At 5:30 or 5 o'clock?
Earlier the
o'clock's-
better.
5 o'clock's good with me.
I can be here by 5.
Okay.
4:30 would be pushing it, but I could be here by 5. I'll come straight from work.
August 14th, 5 o'clock at the
Rear.
maintenance.
Rear, back in
At the
Peggy and
administration
Josh,
office.
where our administrator and maintenance is at. 5 o'clock on the 14th. And Jim, you'll get
And
that listed,
Yeah,
right?
and 6:45 on the 19th. I don't
And
need
we'll
them.
do 6:45 on the 19th. Is that correct, or do we want to do 6:30?
Totally up to you.
Let's do 6:45.
6:45 is
We'll be
okay.
Okay, I would need a motion and a second to set those dates.
I'll make, go ahead.
I'll make a motion to do the 14th at 5 PM at the maintenance facility and the 19th at 6:45 PM right before the meeting here for the license tax hearing.
I'll second that.
Mr. Pope?
Yay.
Mr. Shibley?
Yay.
And Mr. King?
Yay. Anybody have anything else under old business that you want to bring up?
I do not.
I do not.
New business. We did the Knox equipment proposal, right? We did phase one for chief. We got the approval of the 2025 tax budget. If we could do another motion on that, since we held that tax budget hearing at 6:45 tonight, but we still need to make that motion.
I'll make that motion to approve the 2025 tax budget.
I'll second that.
Voice vote, please.
Mr. Pope?
Yay.
Mr. Shively?
Yay.
Mr. King?
Yay. So the last thing, does anybody else have anything under new before I jump into the last piece? I want to keep the one we're going to talk about last.
I do not.
I do not.
Have any
Okay.
other new.
So we're going to jump into the last part of our new business. And Jim, I'm going to read this.
Okay.
So what I'm going to do to start this out before on the, what we're looking at under the new business is going to be Resolution 2024-20 is what we're going to be discussing. And that's a resolution determining to proceed to levy an additional tax in excess of the 10 mil limitation within the township. But what I'm going to read here is what we did on Resolution 2024-19, and that's going to explain what we have going on in Resolution 2024-20. Does everybody follow me? So I'm going to read the resolution that's already been approved and that was sent out to the Hamilton County Auditor. On July 9th, 2024, the Board of Trustees of Whitewater Township, County of Hamilton, Ohio, certified a copy of its resolution number 2024-19, adopted on June 17th, 2024, requesting the county auditor to certify the current taxable value of Whitewater Township and the amount of revenue that would be produced by a 4.5 mils. The levy is a tax outside of the 10 mil limitation for the purpose of providing and maintaining fire apparatus, mechanical resuscitators, sorry, fire apparatus, mechanical resuscitators, underwater rescue, and recovery equipment, or other fire equipment and appliances, building and sites, therefore, or resources of water supply and materials, therefore, for the establishment and maintenance of lines of fire alarm communications, for the payment of firefighters, companies, or permanent, part-time, or volunteer firefighting, emergency medical service, administrative, or communications personnel to operate the same, including the payment of any employer contributions required for such personnel under Section 145.48 or 742.34 of the revised code, for the purchase of ambulance equipment, for the provision of ambulance, paramedic, or other emergency medical services operated by a fire department or firefighting company, or for the payment of other related costs at a rate not exceeding 4.5 mils pursuant of 5705.19I of the Ohio Revised Code, and will be placed on the ballot at the November 5th, 2024 election. The levy type is an additional 4.5 mil levy. The estimated property tax revenue that will be produced by the state, or that by the stated millage, assuming the taxable value of Whitewater Township remains constant throughout the life of the levy, is calculated to be $813,000 per year. The total taxable value of Whitewater Township used in calculating the estimated property tax revenue is $180,686,580. The millage of the requested levy is 4.5, or .00450 mils per $1 of taxable value, which amounts to $158 for each $100,000 of county auditor's appraised value. So that was Resolution 2024-19, which we sent to the auditor, and we have the letter back, which also has all the certifications and everything. So now what we are presenting, and Jim, this is the official copy right here, correct?
Correct.
So what we are now looking for, we have in front of us Resolution 2024. Jim, that's not correct.
Oh, you've got the wrong one. There you go.
Okay, thank you.
All right, that's the old one.
So now what we have in front of us for July 15th of 2024, we have Resolution 2024-20. Resolution determining to proceed to levy an additional tax in excess of the 10 mil limitation within the township. So I'm looking for someone who is willing to make a motion to adopt 2024-20.
I'll make a motion to adopt it. Resolution number 2024-20.
So with that, I'm going to do this a little different before we have a second. Can I see that real quick, Jim?
Yeah, this is the same thing.
Oh, it's the same thing, just the wrong number, right?
Yeah, I just started on this
Oh,
one.
I got you. So everything I just read in Resolution 2024-19 is exactly what's in Resolution 2024-20. So I'm not going to reread all that, okay? At the end of the day, it's the same process. There's nothing different in it because it's a certified.
The one question I have before I second this is, what is the reason for the necessity of the second motion, or a second resolution?
Your first resolution was a resolution declaring the necessity for the
And that was to
tax.
have the auditor look at it. The
And that-
second resolution is to proceed with it,
Is to place it on the
On
ballot.
the
to
ballot.
put it on the ballot, right.
So everybody knows, what we did is in Resolution 19 is, the trustee said, we're going to send it to the auditor. Tell us what all of our numbers look like. Is that correct, Jim?
Yes.
And then they certify it. So it's been certified by the auditor that it's go. We can do it. So now in Resolution 2024-20, the trustees, which we have a motion from Trustee Shibley to put it on the November 5th ballot, exactly how the auditor, which I just read, certified. So before we have a second, the reason I wanted to do this last is, anyone have any questions, comments about this before we move forward to put this, to follow the motion by Trustee Shibley to put this on the November 5th ballot? So if there's any questions, I'd like to know now, so we're real clear that we didn't take questions. I don't want another trustee just to second it and we just move it forward
Right.
without anybody coming forward saying they're really clear what we're looking at. Yes, could you come up here to the mic first? Just tell us who you are and then what the question is.
My name is Patty McDonald, and apologize that we weren't here for the last meeting where you probably discussed some of this stuff, but do you have information relating to where that $813,000 a year that this is going to generate, where that is going to go, what you need this $813,000 a year for? Is that available for us to look at before we,
Yeah, that's what I just read.
whether we want to
That's-
vote?
Yeah, that's what I just read.
Primarily, it's
She's
for
asking what the
wages,
funds are gonna
as
be
we
used for.
But I mean,
discussed.
do you
Yeah,
have any
fire
kind of a breakdown as to how you came up with needing $813,000 a year?
It came out from the millage.
No, what she's saying is,
Why
most
do
of
you
it is
need
for,
$813,000?
most of it is for staffing, to
Right.
accommodate. We've had to give raises and stuff because everything's going up. And Chief can tell you more. I mean, most of it, the cost of the trucks have all went up. You want to tell her some of it, Chief?
Do you have a
Come on up, Chief.
We
We
did
don't have it here tonight.
Yeah,
had
we don't
asked-
have it here
something
now,
that-
but we had it,
that's
we
available
discussed
to
it
the
at the
public
last.
To see where those,
Yeah.
where that
Sure.
number came from? I'm interested.
He might know some of it off the top of his head.
And you are right, Patty, it was in the other hearings that we had.
Yeah.
Correct.
Yeah, I don't have that breakdown with me, but we will have it available prior to the election. And also, we are planning on doing community meetings, basically like town hall meetings in each of the areas of the township, to explain, to educate, answer questions as to where it's going. But primarily, it is for additional full-time staffing and additional equipment. We do have equipment needs moving forward within the next 5 years, replacing current vehicles that we have that are aging and will need to be replaced. So primarily, it is staffing, equipment replacement, and is primarily the need for the additional revenue.
Okay, I appreciate the information.
Normal operating, I'd like to tell people all the time, when the lady came out from the news last time, was asking, she said, what are you getting for the fire department? I said, we're not getting anything, we're just keeping going, we're not building a firehouse, we're not adding new trucks, we're, above and beyond, just replacing worn out ones. It's really just looking down the road and paying for what all the costs are gonna be as time goes forward.
Well, I appreciate the informational meetings that you're going to be having too, where these kinds of things. are
Yeah,
going to be
definitely.
Addressed more.
Yeah, a good example of the additional cost is the fire truck. The cost has doubled from when we bought our last one. Ambulance, we bought an ambulance in 2017, and it was, well, we re-chassied, and that was like 120,000. We bought a new ambulance, we needed a new box, because you can only re-chassis them so many times, and it was 350,000. So the cost of equipment, as we all know from buying groceries and anything we do, has just skyrocketed, and we've been operating within our budget, and in order to continue to operate within our budget, we added it where we felt we would be in 5 years, and that's where we came up with the conservative estimate of the 4.5 mils.
Does it not then include anything for the sheriffs, the Hamilton
Nothing.
County?
No.
That's fire
So
only.
that was what the last levy
We
Yes.
was
took that out.
about.
This is
There's nothing
only
like that.
fire,
Only fire?
fire safety
Only fire.
'Cause
service,
this is what we gotta have.
fire and paramedics.
And trust us, I'm telling you, and I'm sure these guys, I don't want to pay any more property taxes. Trust me, I don't want to, but it's something we have to do. I mean, we got to have it.
Well, from where we live, property values have,
Oh, yeah.
this past year,
Right.
have gone up tremendously.
Right.
And what happens when this inflationary comes back down and the property values are hopefully lower the next time we go through?
And that would put us even more of a bind if that's, if it goes back. Not that we wanted it to go up in the first place. I don't,
All right.
I'm glad you came, though. I mean, it's very interesting when
Oh,
people,
yeah.
last time nobody came out and when we
We were-
talked about it and then everybody was mad at us and it's like, I wish this was full every night.
We sat here in a hearing all by ourselves. Nobody was even here. Tim, you know how that goes.
Yeah, not a
Patty, and
single,
we're trying to get these vehicles spaced out, so we don't have such old vehicles. We're trying to get it to where we can,
Right.
purchase something and have a gap and some kind of, a list of when we need to replace things and,
Well, like Willie, I'm on the West Jad
Right.
board, so I understand how
Yeah.
a lot of this works.
You
but I
know,
just
that
think
whole
it's-
part-time, full-time, it's harder and harder to find people wanting to do
And then with
service work.
sorry to interrupt, the addition of state mandates and state recommendations for staffings and, needing a medic box on a ambulance instead of a standard ambulance box, a box is a box. But, I mean, there's a lot of things that we learn as we go here that all new radios are mandated. There's just Knox boxes. It's just never-ending things new that come up that are hard on our budget.
Well, I know with WestJAD, it's a joint district with, right now, just Crosby Township and Whitewater Township. Has that ever been looked at with the fire departments? Does each township, each community need a full fire department? Can there be savings in consolidating fire departments? Has that been looked at all?
To cover the areas that we have, I've talked extensively with the chief of, hey, how about we do a single central fire department we wanted to do, I thought we wanted to do at Kilby, but that was never the case because we have too many square miles. And if you add on Crosby, you would still need the same number of houses to cover it, and it
Would there be savings in any
it
other
wouldn't
ways
gain
that
us
we looked at?
anything
Yeah.
to combine with them, because we'd still need the same equipment, the same staffings. It wouldn't help.
Right.
Patty,
Thank
it
you.
goes all the way back to the whole water sewer. We need to develop the township. We need economic development to help cover all this. And hopefully this is what's going to happen now.
Yeah, we need new people to help pay the taxes.
Yeah, we do, we do. And
Sure.
hopefully this is, what's happening in 2024 does turn a little bit. And I hope people realize, I don't want to put on a levy, but I mean, we need it. We have to have it. We have to have it. I don't, nobody's going to sit here and say, like Rumpke, we want it, but we have to have it.
Well, I'm just looking for the facts, so I can go out and
know.
know whether I'm supporting it or not supporting it, what
It
reasons
is
I
so
have
difficult.
for doing that, so
Yeah.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for your concerns.
Can I just add, there's some new rules out regarding what elected officials can do, and it really limits what members of the board, what our employees can do, especially when they're on duty. But if they're off, our employees who are off duty can be themselves and act on their own or with their union. But elected officials can't go out and campaign for or against a levy. To the point, at one point in time, the Attorney General's opinion said that you could not even thank the people for voting for a levy. And they have backed off on that a little bit, but so the only way that we can get anyone to go out and support the levy is to form a political action committee and get residents who are involved. So if someone wants to do that and support it, they can. The township can provide factual information, like what you just asked for, where the money's going to go, what it's going to be used for. But the elected officials cannot go out and promote for or against a levy. So I just wanted to bring that up because it's, while I disagree with the current opinion of the Attorney General, that's where it is. So.
Come on up, Keith.
Just to verify a little bit more, how many levies do we have now supporting the fire department?
Got three.
Got three. And how much are we bringing in each year roughly on all three altogether? Just a ballpark.
Well, I believe I can tell you. You give me just a minute here. And I get my glasses.
And all three of
Sorry.
them levies are continuous levies, aren't they now?
Yes, they are.
Sorry, my pages are all stuck together here. Here we go. Looks like right now, our real estate tax levies bring in $1,536,000 is the projected estimate for 2025.
Okay. Yeah, I just didn't know, I couldn't remember over all the years how much we're getting in altogether with the three we're paying on now.
Yeah, it's 3 levies. It's, I believe, right around 13.37. I'm not sure about the exact millage that's currently on, but
Right, yeah.
When was our last levy, Jim? Do you have that when the last levy was or not?
yeah, so that was the 5.37 mil levy.
Actually, our current millage is right around, for fire levies, is right around 10, I believe. I think the other two are like 2.5 and 2 something.
That's the effective millage, yeah.
Well, right.
Yeah, so what happens when you have a continuous levy? For instance, the one they're discussing putting on now will never bring in more than this amount.
Right.
So while the original millage, I think, was 3.5 and 3 on those 2 older levies, yeah, whatever they originally were, they're not bringing in what 3 new mills would bring in. But to replace those levies, the older ones, right now we get a rollback from the state on those levies. If we replace them, we don't get that, so it would cost more to replace the old ones than what you would bring in for the same millage. So it's, I have no idea why it's done that way, but that's the way it is. So the last levy does not get a rollback on that levy because it came after they quit doing that. So.
Yeah, that's one thing I never really understood why. I know it's state law and all that, yeah. But yeah, if somebody goes out and builds a big subdivision, puts 500 new houses in Whitewater Township,
Correct.
you're not going to get any more than 813, whatever it was, that came in.
Right.
But you got, 500 new houses out there that's worth $300,000 to $400,000 a piece, and, but it'll lower everybody else's taxes over the years.
Right.
To even out, but,
Yeah,
yeah,
right now
why
you
don't
can-
they go ahead and just stick the same millage on all them houses being built or new industrial complexes, whatever's going in, yeah. You gotta change all that in the state in order to,
Yeah.
do all that, yeah. So,
Yeah.
Okay, that's all I needed, thanks.
Thanks, Keith.
Levy in addition to those levies? Is the West Jan levy for paramedics, is that in addition to that?
That's in addition, yes.
WestJet is a totally separate entity.
Repeat that question, Will.
Is what Patty asked is if the WestJet levy was not in with these, and that is correct, it is not. WestJet is a totally separate entity that assists our department.
Any other questions on this before we move forward on trustee Shively's motion?
At this time, I would like to second the motion to put Resolution 2024-20 on the ballot November 5th.
Voice vote, please.
Mr. Pope?
Yay.
Mr. Shively?
Yay.
And Mr. King?
Yay. Okay, any other new business? Public comments? Oh. Come on up, Keith.
Should just stayed up here.
I didn't know how much longer you were talking.
Tim, you're next.
2 weeks, I think, before the last meeting in June, I called Peggy about a problem. She contacted the county about it and has never heard any response back about it. Now, what I sent it to her was, probably around the 1st of June, there was a tornado warning issued for Hamilton County. I was watching Channel 5 News that night, and they were showing tornadoes coming in from Dearborn County in Indiana, coming right strictly at us, basically, that time. And they were saying Dearborn County at that time had tornado warnings out. but nothing for Hamilton County at first. But then all of a sudden, they issued one for Hamilton County, and it was all of Hamilton County. And the guy from Channel 5, the weather guy, was talking, he said, right now, our sirens are going off right above us for the tornado warning in Hamilton County. Well, I live over in Blue Jay, and that one up there didn't go off for another 7, 8 minutes. Can you tell me why it took so much longer for that warning to go off there, and we're just right over across the county from Dearborn? Why did it take so long? We're going back to what happened in Harrison in '90. Hamilton County would not set a tornado warning off until they were confirmed tornadoes in Hamilton County at that time. I think now we're going back to the same situation in a way. And I don't know if they're starting the warnings on the east side because that's where the most populous areas and the most expensive town areas are. But why was downtown alerted before we were out here? When they test the first of the month, I think they push one button and all these sirens go off at noon every month, the first Wednesday of the month. They should have done the same exact thing that night. Can you get us somebody down here to explain what is going on with this tornado warning system in the county?
Chief, you got anything on that?
I think it's all through Hamilton County EMA. I can look into it. I can send an email and ask some questions.
That, because that is true, because my wife had the same questions. Ours, I know exactly what you're talking about. I know exactly what you're talking. We had the same questions. My wife was asking the same thing. It did not go off.
Yeah, and I'm half a mile from the one up there across the blue.
I know exactly what you're saying. I think that's a good point. I'm glad you brought that up. I forgot all about it, because we're having more and more of these tornadoes.
Yeah, all the sirens are controlled through Hamilton County EMA, the Emergency Management Agency for Hamilton County. And this is a newer system, and I'm not 100% familiar with it, but I will pose your question to the director of Hamilton County EMA and see if we can get some sort of answer. Because I believe, don't quote me to this, and I really don't even want to say this, but I believe there are separate control systems for the sirens. I believe there's one at the EMA. I believe the Communication Center, Hamilton County Communication Center, may have control over that as well. Again, don't quote me on that, but we'll find out. I'll send an email to the director of Hamilton County EMA with your concerns and see if we can get an answer.
Who did you contact, Peggy?
The people that send out the warnings, I can't remember, I don't have that information.
Yeah, it's Nick Crosley is the director of Hamilton County EMA. Yeah, and I also have some other contacts down there, so I will make sure that I get to the right person that can either A, give us an answer, or B, be at the next meeting with an answer.
Yeah, we had the exact same thing.
I mean,
I'm glad you brought that.
That tornado could have been halfway across the
Because
county.
our neighbor came to our house and nothing ever did go off. I know exactly.
It went off, but it was like.
I never,
It was late.
Oh, yeah.
I never did hear it go off that night. I do recall that night,
I heard it, but I,
and my wife says, how come we haven't heard the storm sirens? I said, well, it'd be too late now because it's already past us.
Yeah.
We were watching the news just like you were.
Yeah, I mean, we
And-
walked outside before all that happened, and it was as calm as can be. So I knew if the siren would go off, you'd hear it. But for Peggy not to get any kind of response back in over a month now, it's kind of ridiculous too,
Yeah.
to me.
Hey, we'll continue on that.
Okay.
No,
Appreciate
man,
it.
I'm glad you brought that up,
But I
yeah.
mean, it needs to be addressed, and I think if nothing else, you ought to get somebody from them to come here to this meeting next month if possible and address this issue. Why did it take so long to go off?
Okay.
Thank you.
No, absolutely.
Thank you, Keith.
Thanks, Keith. Any other public comments? Diane? No? Okay. I keep looking between you and Tim. Okay. Anybody in the fire department need anything to say anything? Okay. No executive session?
I'm good.
Are you looking for a motion to adjourn? I would like to make a motion to adjourn. You're beating around the bush.
I'll second it.
Voice vote, please.
Mr. Pope?
Yay.
Mr. Scheibler?
Yay.
Mr. King?
Yay. Meeting's adjourned.